Are you ready to learn what red flags keep an eye out for when looking for love?
Then we got you covered. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the podcast where we unpack reality TV and call out the bullshit.
So that you show up confidently while dating and in relationships.
Welcome to
Ditch the Script.
I love it.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Happy New Year.
Oh, happy fucking New Year.
Yeah, that's right, bitch. Here we
First
are.
F-bomb of the year, I took it.
We're only 6 days in.
Yes. Me too. 2022 is here and we are ready to take it by storm. And yeah, been feeling all the New Year's vibes. What about you?
Similarly, we're manifesting. This show is, the people that it's already reached is incredible. I love the conversations that we're building with people that are loving what we're doing and we love them. And I'm excited for the audience that it continues to reach. So I'm manifesting success for our project, our baby.
Our baby. Maybe 2022 will be the year we do merch.
Yeah.
And then once we get rid of COVID, let's do some in-person fun mixer type events. These are our goals.
God,
we're just speaking it into existence, people.
Ooh, you know what I would really love to do
What?
in 2022? An in-person recording for the two of us.
Well, that's easy. We'll make that happen.
Yeah.
That'll be easy peasy. We're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I really want to do that. Like Cody Co style, let's sit in a couple chairs.
Yes.
Fire it off. Okay, there's a thing that I want to bring into 2022 for the rest of our
Ooh,
community.
I like it.
The difference between, like, I truly believe that happy people, happier people, deeply feel their friends' successes or their friends' joy and happiness. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, if your friends get engaged or married, or you're in the stage of my life that I'm in where, like, they're having babies, like, feel that happiness as if it were your own, and you will be happier.
Yeah. And I feel like that goes for everything. So the way that I've seen that, and if you're, a side note, if you're triggered by it, take that to your journal and see what that's about. But also, because I used to be, if I'm being super honest, I, back in the day before when I was divorced and like going through my toxic stuff, I would get kind of green with envy. I'd be like, when am I going to have it? When is it going to be my turn to find my guy? And like, when am I going to have babies? Yeah. And, I really had to sit with that because, it really was shedding light on the fact that I didn't know if I was worthy of all of that and having that. And if I'd, the self-doubt that would creep in. But now I'm the complete opposite. That was a cute little burp. Now
And I had to burp.
it was cute. Now I'm the opposite, where like even with like likes on social media, like growing a brand, that's something that a lot of people who like are in an influencer space hear about a lot. And I will go out of my way to like people's stuff, and as I'm liking it, I'm like, there's likes to go around for everyone.
That's great.
Yeah, and so I completely agree with that. I think like when you're in a healthy place, when you can be really excited about someone, whether that's like a business growth or a pregnancy or a birth or a marriage, a proposal, any of that. And I think the other side of that coin, if there is any enviousness that comes up, jealousy that comes up, one, don't judge yourself for it, but instead get curious about it.
Totally.
And just explore that and see what that jealousy is trying to tell you, because on the other side of that's healing and the ability to truly celebrate your friends.
Yes,
and all of that.
I totally agree. Give space to acknowledge how that like authentically makes you feel. See if there's a place for you to process that like independently, so you don't put that on your friends who are like actively
100
trying to be in their joy.
Yes.
And then join them in their joy.
Agreed. Yay. So exciting.
I wanted to give you another update about me.
Oh my gosh. keep it coming.
This is not a push for our audience for 2022 and us as a community to continue to evolve into the optimal versions of ourselves. However, I do have a friend date this evening.
Oh my gosh, that's also very wildly exciting.
Yeah.
So wait, tell me about it.
Okay, so I have a friend date. I connected with this girl via Bumble BFF.
Yes.
And she's from New England, so I already sort of felt like pretty at home. This is going to be a New England themed episode today.
Love it.
Yeah, and so I was just like, she had seemed like someone that I would have probably already been friends with. But it's interesting, this is the first time that I'm ever using Bumble BFF. I've never connected with anyone on that before. It's such a different mindset than using Bumble or any other dating app for the purpose of dating or like getting your freak on. Very different headspace. I feel more able to be like more genuine.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, more authentically you. Like you're less intimidated.
I don't feel any pressure to not be this like cooler, more mysterious version of myself. Like I get to just, and maybe I shouldn't even be doing that in my dating spaces either. Maybe that's something for me to unpack. However, doing it on like a friendship level allows me to like send 37 exclamation points if I feel like it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I feel like probably a bunch of people listening probably can relate to that so well, of where you're overanalyzing how many punctuation, like, oh, wait, I sent an ellipses there and here. That's redundant. Let me back that up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we get so in our head about the silliest things, but I love that you're aware of that difference internally for you from the romantic side of things to the friend side of things. And like, yeah, I mean, I think it's great practice to be able to translate that over to the romantic side of things on Bumble, especially because the interface is the same, probably. It's not different colors, is it?
No. Oh, well, it's sort of like, it's got like a different colored border just so that you're,
gotcha.
you know that you're on the, like the friend space, the platonic side of things versus the dating side of things. But it's interesting because, if people are interested in this, I can use our Instagram to show like the differences between my Bumble dating profile setup and my Bumble friend dating.
Do it for me.
Yeah, just for you alone. It's interesting because you can see a difference in the photos that I've chosen. Some of them are the same, but some of them are different, and in how I answered the prompts. It's a pretty interesting little social experiment. But I wanted to sort of like bring that update here today. One, because I think that it's really interesting and something that we can stay updated with in the future episodes. But I also just wanted to normalize that like we're in this place in our adulthoods where we are young enough to continue to want to prioritize our social relationships, our friendships, but no longer in those commonly community-centered environments like school or sometimes even workplaces, right? Especially in the pandemic where a lot of us are no longer working in physical spaces or like changes you and I have made where we don't have coworkers, point blank period. And just wanted to normalize like this option is out here to connect with people. And yes, it can be challenging to make friends as an adult, but worth the effort if you feel like that's what you're looking to add into your life.
100%. I actually have a client in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, who she solely hired me to help her make friendships. And we were spitballing ideas, and I told her, I was like, honestly, get on Bumble BFF. She has a partner. So I was like, be very upfront with like why you're using the app, because that would be messed up if he saw it and didn't know ahead of time. So, but she's had wild success off of Bumble BFF. Like, she was telling me the other day, she went on a brunch date with a bunch of new girls, and like one of the other girls that was on the brunch date was someone else she had matched with off the app, and she has another date with someone else she met. So like,
oh, word. Yes.
And for her, like I said, she's in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. I'm trying to protect her as much as I can, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if you're in a place that might not be a huge bustling city, you ain't got nothing to lose by trying all these different tools.
Yeah, totally. I'm in almost Nowheresville, South Florida, but like, it's just moving to a new place. Like, I don't know
gosh,
for this particular client, like this is a new place for her. But for me, it's like, I don't have anyone else here to connect with that's outside my family. So this feels like important. I really appreciate that tip that you gave, which is like, if you're planning to use Bumble BFF to connect with people, you should, and you have a romantic relationship that you care about, you should definitely probably let them know. Just to be transparent.
Yeah, 100%. Because I have been on the other side of that, although it turned out they were cheating. But let's just say, I'm speaking from personal experience. But yeah, go for it. Do it. I think we meet people online nowadays. That's just what our generation does. So be smart, be safe. But I'm excited to hear how this friend date goes. Yeah,
me too. I'll let you know. We're getting tacos.
I love tacos. Well, you know that.
Yeah.
All right. So Bri and I are actually pretty excited about Married at First Sight because we are going to be able to analyze so many different things and different types of relationship dynamics. But if you aren't watching Married at First Sight, let me just, or if you've never seen it before, let me just take a second to educate you on what this show is. So this is a show where there's 3 professionals. We have a sociologist, a relationship and sex therapist, and a pastor, right? And all of them right now this year, it's Boston, Massachusetts, baby, which is so dope because that's where Bri just moved from. So she's going to be able to preside. Yeah, you're going to be able to provide similar to how I was on The Bachelorette, like been there, not that great or super dope.
Yes. Yeah. Nope. We're leaning towards the not that great category, but I'll keep us updated on that as we move through this.
Okay. And so Married at First Sight, what they do is they collect all of these different applicants in the area, and they basically match people on paper. They also sit down and talk with everyone to get a feel for personality and vibe, but they take all that information and make all of these different couples that do not meet each other at all or see a picture of one another or know the other person's name even until they get to the altar and say, I do. So if you're listening to this for the first time and you know nothing about this show, that might be a huge shocker. Now, what's fascinating is this show is 14 years in, and there are couples from season 1 that are still happily married, which is really interesting to me. There are couples that are divorced, of course. Yeah. And what's great also to note about this show is they do provide annulment services, I guess you could say. So
that's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They have a lot of support. They also, if the couple ends up going through any kind of challenging times, they can do a Hail Mary and reach out to one of the professionals to come in and do like a session together to help them work through some of their issues because they all understand that what they're doing is kind of crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it's part of this larger like social experiment because they also have all of these, all of the people from the couples in each series intermingling with each other. I found that to be a really interesting piece of this experiment. So to quickly interject, I am someone who has never seen the show before ever in my life. I had heard about it. I had no idea how long it's been on the air, existing in the world. So I never knew the cadence of the show. I never knew the setup. So I had a full blind reaction to this all last evening for everyone here.
I can't wait to hear all of your thoughts. This is going to be so great. I over quarantine watched season 9 where there was some serious drama, and that's all I'm going to say. The other thing I wanted to tap or just to put on everyone's radar is that after their honeymoon, they actually live in an apartment building together. And then from there, if it continues to work out, then they decide to either move into one of the other person's apartments, homes, or buy a house together. So there's a lot coming up for us, and I'm really excited, especially when we get to the living situations, to be able to discuss like what are the best ways to go around discussing cohabitating and navigating that together. So this, compared to Bachelor, Bachelorette, is going to be a little different angles, different perspectives. So I hope you all are as excited to be on this journey with us as Bri and I are.
Oh my God. And I'm so excited. Married at First Sight, MAFS for short.
MAFS for short. And if anyone, for our Bachelor, Bachelorette, we had the batch breakdown. And for this, we're looking for a fun name. So if anyone has any creative ideas, you DM us on the gram.
Honestly, we need a little bit of help. We need a little bit of help. But you know what? Maybe we'll take it to our Instagram and open up a poll and give, Yeah. Let's use this as an opportunity for engagement.
Yeah, you stay tuned. Followers.
Watch our spaces.
Watch our spaces.
I'm really excited. So since last night, which was a 3-hour opening special, by the way. We are going to do a quick rundown of our couples that we got to meet last night. And what Alex and I are going to do is do a quick rapid fire compatibility assessment. So our quick 2 cents on if we feel that these couples are, based on the information that we have so far, are going to be compatible for the long-term goals for the show.
All right. Are we ready?
Ready.
Mark and Lindsey. What do you think?
Lindsey. Actually, this is the toughest couple for me to assess. I'm going to say could be compatible, but likely to be very challenging. Will need lots of support, lots of therapeutic support, because their energies are all over the place. And I'm going to reserve the rest of my comments for what we cover for the rest of this episode. We see a lot more of them in this episode.
Yes, we do.
Okay, what about you?
I feel that they're going to implode. I would put money on it that eventually they will get divorced, whether it's in this season or down the road, because they have matching personalities and they both want to be the big one in the room, which means someone's energy needs to sit back, and become more receptive. And in language that I use with clients, they're both very masculine energies. And so there is they kind of repel each other. It's kind of a competition instead of this flow and this, someone needs to be receptive and no one's receptive yet.
I do wonder though that with good intervention and guidance, is it possible that a couple that starts out with 2 energies that fire off at that same rate, is there room for each other to, honestly, through their own interpersonal work, to find space for each other? That's what I'm curious about.
And the answer is yes. I personally, based off of what I've seen of Lindsey, am concerned about her ability to do the inner work, and we can unpack that more later because there's a lot of details that go there.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, we're moving right on to Olajuwon and Katina.
I think that it will be hot and spicy at first, and I think in time there's going to be a lack of trust and maybe some chaos that ensues.
Yeah.
You?
My 2 cents is that they are not going to work out. Olajuwon is just not in the mental space. He's just starting to reframe his role in a dating context, and I find that to actually be such a bummer for Katina, who he's been partnered with. I actually think because she seems ready. And another reason why I find that this is going to be like not a match made in heaven is because Katina has major like trust issues because of having been cheated on. She's suffered a lot of infidelity, and Olajuwon has created a lot of infidelity. He's been very I don't want to use the word promiscuous because that doesn't feel fair, although that's definitely what he's been doing. But he hasn't been faithful.
Yeah, and he calls himself a cheater. And actually, so me being super honest, I completely agree with you. However, if I was going to say between Mark and Lindsey and Elanjuan and Katina, I would put more hope in Elanjuan and Katina than I do Mark and Lindsey. And here's why. Here's why. Elanjuan, whenever his friends go to correct him, like when they were at the club, he seems a little bit more open for influence than Lindsey does. And
gosh, so true.
That's why if I'm going to say, like, if I think a counselor can get in there and really help, I think they'll make more progress with this couple than the previous one we were talking about.
Okay, I'm putting a pin in that because we're going to review that when we get to their bachelorette scenes. I noticed that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're coming back to that. Next we have Steve and Noi.
I think this couple's going to be great. I am pleasantly surprised by them. I want to be at their wedding. Steve has family who's had arranged marriages. He seems very emotionally mature and in a good place in his life. Noi seems very self-aware. She has a good head on her shoulders. And so I really feel that these two are going to come together and mesh well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you said that. I also noticed about Steve having arranged marriages in his history as being an amazing positive for this, because I think that it'll really open him up to what's possible in a situation like this.
Yeah.
It'll allow less room for rigidity. They are two people that I wasn't totally sure about their success in being in like a set up partnership like this until I became aware that they were going to be set up with each other. Once I learned more about them, I could see how the two of them would be able to bring out and amplify the best qualities in one another. And that's really what we're looking for in a relationship, is to like be in a partnership that we feel really good in. And we hope that our partner feels the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And cool. Next is Jasmina and Michael.
I think they're going to be a great couple. First of all, I have a major crush on Jasmina. I think that she is so, oh my God, the elegance and poise and she's dope. She carries a lot. I think she has a good head on her shoulders. I think she is a fantastic role model in her mom, who is not biologically her mom, it's her stepmom.
Yeah.
And I think that she has a lot of integrity, and I find that to be about Michael as well, though my concerns are with his barriers to be comfortable in being vulnerable in front of another person. He lets us know that he shuts down really easily. He tends to process his feelings, if he processes them ever at all, alone. He lost his parents very young, so he didn't have like a lot of like family support. His family support is with his siblings, which are strong. That is strong.
Very strong.
But my hope for him in that journey is his awareness of that challenge.
Yeah.
So I have hope for them. What do you think?
Yeah, Michael's one of my favorites, if I'm being super honest. He's like a quiet little teddy bear of a man, and very emotionally mature, very self-aware, very comfortable with himself. Like, we'll dig into this when we go into their batch parties, but like, he doesn't feel the need to take up space unless he desires to take up space. And I love that about a man. I think that's so attractive. I agree. My only concern about their relationship is, let me get to my exact notes. I wrote, I feel like Michael's grounded and self-aware, and he could definitely provide stability for Jasmina to feel safe. And like, because Jasmina made it a point to say she wants to be the changer in her family dynamic. They haven't had any successful relationships. You know, she hasn't been around healthy marriages. And so she's like, I want to be the one to kind of hold the torch and lead my sisters and let them know that love exists and it can be healthy and it can last. And so I'm just a little concerned around if Jasmina is emotionally mature to know that if it's not this lustful spark in the beginning, that it still can work. That's my only, and that goes both ways. I know I'm talking about Jasmina right now just because of that's who I landed on as far as family dynamics, but same for Michael. I just want to make sure that they know that a slow burn is a healthy burn too. It doesn't need to be. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And that sort of piggybacks off of the point that we made on our Christmas episode a couple weeks ago, which is a healthy dynamic, a healthy relationship is going to feel different in your body than the toxic ones that you're familiar with that have obviously not worked out. Good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we have Chris and Alyssa. Your thoughts?
I think they'd be a great match. My only hesitation is I'm wondering if Alyssa will be attracted to him.
Yeah.
That is my only concern. And I'm wondering, I think if she is attracted to him, great, then this is like, I feel like they'll work out. I think if she's not, I'm wondering, if she's not at first, let me rather say, if she's not attracted to him at first, I wonder if she'll still allow herself to fully explore the relationship. I think I love Alyssa. I think she has a heart of gold, this girl. And she's also she reminded me so much of me when they were at the bachelorette party, because she was like sitting there with her friends, like, and I love that she doesn't feel the need to play the game or keep up with everyone else. Like, she's really comfortable being her, and I think Chris is comfortable being him. I think he's in a great place too, so I feel like they'll match really well.
Yeah, she seems quite reserved. Do you agree, or is that not fair to put on her?
I mean, I think she's one of those girls who, once she is comfortable with the people she's around, she'll open up more. But yeah, she's not the life of the party. Like, but she knows
that, and she's cool with that.
And she's cool with that, and I love that about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that I think that they are going to make a good match. I think that based on Chris's behavior at the bachelor party, I was like sure of it. I was like, oh, I see the two of these clicking, because we could sort of see side by side that they were sort of interacting in that space in the same way. They didn't necessarily want to be center of attention. They were comfortable being in that setting, the reserved one. I agree with you that I don't think that she's going to off the bat be attracted to him. I wasn't personally. He doesn't read to me as like conventionally attractive, and that's no shade. It's just like what the world tries to tell me is like attractive in a man. However, getting to know him more and more throughout the episode, I love him. I think that he is I'm going to compare him to someone who seems sort of like his equal in the space of guys, which is Mark. So they're both white guys, and they are like, in my mind, seem like two different versions of like regular New England type of dude. And what I found really endearing about Chris is that he wasn't competing for the same space or the same air that Mark was. And so I saw less of this fight to present Chris's ego and more of an opportunity to actually get to know him, the way in which he talked about himself. He owned the thoughts that he had that maybe wouldn't be like popular thoughts, but it was just him, facts about him. So I really like him, and I'm excited to get to know him more throughout the journey. I hope she's open to it. I could sort of see her being quite closed off if she doesn't feel like he meets her vibe immediately.
Yeah, that's my concern too. I feel like Chris will definitely be open to exploring it and like giving it the time that it needs. And I wonder if Alyssa will buy into that and be patient with it, or if she's looking for that kind of instantaneous spark and will be caught off guard if that's not there, or like read into that too much, give it too much weight is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, totally.
All
This show brought up a personal philosophy of mine. Do you want to hear it?
Ooh, of course I want to hear it. What kind of question is that, girl? Spill the fucking tea.
Okay, I have this personal philosophy that the more that you get to know someone and you get more familiar with their story and what makes them them, and sometimes that includes the hardships that they've had to face, the more they become familiar in your heart, and the more you are able to see them and have the capacity to love them.
Yeah.
And this can even be true in platonic spaces, but it is easy to judge someone when all you see is a picture, or you just get a first glance of what they look like, or how they dress, or how they present, or how they act. Even getting to know them on like a dating setting where you're like just getting to know whatever information they're willing to share with you, can still be misleading, because once you get to know more about what makes them them, like parts of them that like feel relevant when they were growing up, it really has the ability to soften this person in you.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I just encourage people to like give people a chance, like get to know them, like you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I really wish, you know, Bri and I have talked about this privately, but if anyone hasn't watched Love on the Spectrum yet, you should check it out, because I feel like we should date in a more similar fashion, where the first dates are you just collecting information and they don't take it so personally, and at the end of the date it's like, do you want to see me again or not? And I love that. Like, no filter, because there's we need to approach dating with the mindset of abundance, right? It's not, oh my god, this better work out because I want to get married and have babies. It's, if it's not them, it's better. There's someone out there that's better, you know? And when you do that, you take the pressure off yourself, you take the pressure off the other person, and you stop taking everything so damn seriously. Like, it's a reflection of your value and your worth, and it's just not. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Let's all date. Let's date with the intention of just getting to know the human being on the other side of the table. Exactly. Instead of qualifying them so quickly into like, you need to be my boyfriend now.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree. Couldn't have said it better.
All right. So bachelorette parties.
Something that was really interesting about this, and again, keep in mind, I have fresh baby eyes on this show. Infant eyes. I was immediately like, first of all, I didn't know at first that they were going to be able to have the important people in their lives also in the bachelorette parties. I thought it was just like the group of them, and I was so sad. I was like, I would never want to have my bachelorette
random
party
people
without my friends there. That would make me so. I'd be crying. I would be crying in a corner. I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I can't have my best friends here. I got to hang out with these bozos." So okay. Really interesting concept to have a bachelorette party or a bachelor party that you share with other people who it's less special. It's like not just yours, it's theirs too. What an interesting way to use alcohol as a tool to get people to open up and be honest about how they felt about this experience.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I felt like we were sending the wrong message about alcohol in this.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, but don't we always with these types of shows?
Totally.
But it's more in your face, because it's like with the Bachelor, Bachelorette, we don't necessarily see them all like standing by the bar, like, you know, going for another. It's like hidden more. But totally. Let's be real, they're all plastered off their ass too in those rose ceremonies. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, alcohol, man, it can be liquid courage or all a myriad of other things, and it was interesting to see. Yeah. I'm particularly laughing about the bachelor party itself, and you know, there was some drama that came out in the bachelorette party too.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, just gut reaction, which party would you have rather been at?
I probably would have been with Alyssa.
You're like, wherever Alyssa is.
Alyssa and Noi. Like, no, I feel like I'm like a Noi who's like, I'm a dork and I'm my silly self, but like, I can be crazy and wild when I want to be crazy and wild, but that's not necessarily my default setting. My default setting is kicking back. And so I would have kicked back with Alyssa and then probably gone out there and danced a little with Noi and then gone back and kicked it with Alyssa. Like, that would have been my vibe. You?
Yeah, totally. I want to be wherever drag queens are at any given time.
Oh I love
That's the
it.
only, like, I at first my initial reaction was like, oh, these guys are funny as a group. And then the strippers, I have no issue with strippers. I love strippers, and want to support everything they do. My issue is men interacting with strippers. I hate.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Like, because this is something that Jordan and I have talked about in our relationship quite a lot. Because, like, Jordan and I have a lot of open dialogue and around many different topics, this being one of them. And I love that we can talk about, like, what would be crossing the line for the other person if we were to be in that environment and stuff like that. So tell me more. I just want to know what your insight is or opinions and all that.
About men and strippers?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not ready to, like, publish a paper about this.
Dissertation.
Yeah, I'm not ready to go public with it, but what I will say is that a strip club environment specifically geared towards the male gaze is an interesting and can have the potential to be this unhinged setting that allows men to really, like, let their, and this is like whatever men that this like appeals to. Not all men like fancy going to strip clubs, but of the men that do, it's just like this opportunity to really see men sort of behave with women in the ways that I almost wish that they I almost think that they wish that they could if there were less rules and, like, feminism wasn't working. Yeah, less laws, and feminism wasn't working so hard for equality. That's how I feel. So specifically in practice, I, like, hate that, like, that gaze, that look on men's faces when they're, like,
predatory.
Engrossed by, it's very, thank you. It's very predatorial and very predatory, and I am pretty uncomfortable with it. However, for the women that are out here getting it, collecting it, getting their bag, I fuck with that energy so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I agree. I think there can be a balance. Like, I don't know. It's what I feel like you're trying to kind of tap on or tap into here is it enables a lot of misogynistic behaviors that outside of those environments are illegal, looked down upon, or called out.
Disrespectful.
And so it's like, I feel that, crossing into the threshold of a strip club does not mean that sexual harassment doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It still very much is a thing. Just because this woman is choosing to show off her body and dance to please your eyes doesn't mean you can touch her however you want to touch her and she's yours to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be boundaries. I feel, I've never been to a strip club, so I could be completely talking out of my ass here, but I feel that there are some rules in place to protect them at clubs where they are operated by healthy human beings. And I want to acknowledge that, yes, we can absolutely say that there are strip clubs out there that have no respect for their female workers and probably push them to break their own and violate their own boundaries regularly. Not okay.
Totally.
So that's my 2 cents.
For the purpose of women making money off of what can be gross ways that men try to appeal to women, I'm all for women getting their bag and then some.
Yeah, I think but that's the thing, is it comes down to the woman's permission. Do I want to do this? Sure. Do I want to do this with this person? I get to make that decision. You know what I mean? Because, I'm sure that there's, Jordan and I just rewatched the movie We're the Millers, which is a comedy with Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston. And Jennifer Aniston's character is a stripper. And in there, you kind of see her do exactly what I'm talking about, where there are certain people that attend her club that she doesn't want to service because they take advantage. And then there are people where she's fine servicing them because they protect her boundaries and respect her boundaries. And that's what I'm saying is, like, for the woman at a strip club, all the power lies with her. It's her body. She's choosing to do what she wants to do. And any guy that wants to pay for a lap dance or anything like that and try and sneak in something else, not cool. She gets to decide what she's cool and not cool with. I don't know if I'm using my words well. Hopefully I am.
You are. Segue to, Olajuwon.
why we're talking about this. Yeah.
Segue to Olajuwon. Olajuwon in the setting of a strip club. So he named it that this is a setting that he's very comfortable in because he's ex-party boy, and he felt so comfortable and so misled about what his hopes were for what his hopes were in like who his partner was going to be chosen as. Yeah. So Olajuwon's in this strip club. He's literally like got his face pressed against the stripper's ass, and literally like putting on his own show. The only difference between him and his stripper is he's not getting paid for it. Maybe on the show, but not in the strip club. And he's like, yeah, I want my girl to be doing this with me. Like, let's go to the strip club, me and my girl. I want to hold a space for the fact that there are couples that are totally comfortable being in strip clubs together or doing other shared activities that are not typically known as like this norm of like your partners can't interact here at the same time type of myth. Yeah. However, his friends and family were really quick to be like, no, dude, like your wife is probably like, this is that moment that you were talking about earlier where you were like, he's open to feedback. This is the moment that I thought was so cute. He finishes their sentence. He's like, cause she's a part of me. And they were like, no, she's with you. She's like next to you. And he was like, yes.
Yeah. It was in reverse. Yeah. He was like, oh, she'll be beside me. And they were like, no, it's you guys to get like you're together.
Oh, yeah. I got that backwards, huh?
No, but still like I think I really want to capitalize on his naivete because that is what it felt like. That it felt like watching a little kid being like, oh, that's not normal. Exactly. It felt that innocent to me, which is why I'm like, okay. Whereas his remark earlier about like wanting a traditional wife who cooks for him, that was more concerning to me. I also
found that concerning.
I was waiting for Katina. I thought for sure because of the way they edited it, we were going to find out Katina didn't cook or cooks. I was waiting for that to be answered, but it wasn't yet, which makes me wonder what the fallout of that conversation is going to be post-marriage. That to me, like that comment he made was more concerning than this stripper thing because that it really did. It felt so innocent. I don't like that he was taking his clothes off, like stripping with the stripper. I was like, okay, that might be crossing a line.
It was all very like showy. I think that he wanted to like show his dominance in a setting like this. Okay, my take on Olajuwon, and I'm glad that you brought up the like that gender norm that he feels pretty rigid towards, which is like, I want my girl to like be making a hot meal for me. First of all, I was like triggering for me. I was like, you can go right on and fuck yourself, Olajuwon. I had a big issue with it. I was like, I got my notepad and I'm like, wow, like this is patriarchal at its worst, like patriots. Anyway, so it was shit, and I hated that. But so we see Olajuwon sharing with his friends and family where he was like, I want a woman who's like old fashioned, like cooks me a meal. And then he's in the strip club being like, I want my wife to be in the strip club with me. So what I got from that is Olajuwon is the type of person that wants a partner to fit in exactly where his life is already at. He may have made some changes in his life and his priorities to be more focused on the needs and well-being of other people around him than for himself, which I very much applaud. I think that that's an important personal shift that many of us need to go through as we head into adulthood, and some of us need to make the opposite shift. We need to stop living for other people and start living for ourselves. So I applaud him in that journey, but you are not going to access this. You're not going to live in a successful partnership, a romantic partnership, if all you're looking for is someone to fit into your life as it is.
Yeah. No.
It's not going to happen. You are going to lose that person.
Yeah, because then the next thing that happens is you decide, I don't want to go to the strip club anymore, which means you can't go to the strip club anymore. And like when he changes, he's going to expect wifey to change with him, and that's just controlling. So yeah, it ain't healthy. It ain't healthy at all. So I'm interested to see.
Asking for too much. You're asking for too much.
Yeah, you know, like we'll see what ends up happening. A part of me now, I'm curious to know because Katina, you know, his wife soon to be, she's also a self-declared party animal who she's like, you go out with me, we're gonna be out till 3 a.m. like, you know. So I'm wondering if she would be the kind of girl to go to a strip club and have that confidence and not care, or if she would care. I couldn't quite tell. I was just curious if you had an opinion on that. Do you feel like Katina would care?
About going to the strip club?
About the way he was at the strip club, not necessarily going, but the way he was.
I think that I could see her being okay with being in a strip club and not okay with her man getting on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I think she'll sit too. So it'll be interesting to see, because they all go on honeymoon together, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up if the guys end up sharing some of those details and it gets back. Especially since, you know, like the guys are going to tell their wife about their bachelor party. It'll probably be shared that Alondra want, and then the girls will go tell. That's what I think will happen. That's my hypothesis.
Does that happen in previous seasons?
I've only watched season 9. So
interesting.
No say.
Oh man. Listen.
Yeah.
That whole experience was pretty interesting.
I want to talk about Lindsey here in a second. At her bachelorette party.
What do you want to say?
So, I don't know if you caught it, but she was talking about how she got along with all the girls, and then she was like, and is there a fifth? There's a fifth bride, isn't there?
Yeah,
what's her name? Very petty about Alyssa. And Alyssa, you know, earlier when she first met Lindsey, she was kind of taken aback by some of like the cruel things she was saying about dogs. And Alyssa is a dog lover who like fosters dogs to find their home.
She works in like animal rescue.
Yeah, so it was really like because of the conflict of values there, where Lindsey does not like dogs. You know, there's a riff. And Lindsey then at the bachelorette party has like a confessional moment with the camera where she says exactly what I just quoted from her. And it really didn't sit well with me. And it made it even worse because later, when we get to her talking about anticipating meeting her future hubby, she says, I've never met a stranger that I don't like.
Yes.
And I immediately... I was like, girl, you just were talking about a stranger you don't like.
You were just talking about a stranger you don't like. Honestly, it's some fake ass bullshit. This like, I've never met a stranger I don't like. Like, no, you actually walk around carrying judgments about people all of the time, but you don't like to promote yourself as that type of person. You'd rather picture yourself as this person that is a blank slate to everyone. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Malarkey.
Yeah. And the other thing on like sexualizing men and women, like Lindsey, I don't know, you probably did. She kept talking about penis size. She kept bringing it up like a small dog and a small dick to match. Like she kept making comments like about him potentially having a small penis. And Jordan was like, can you talk about anything else? And I wrote kind of a novel here where I hope the guys watching this show get how it is to be a woman who's constantly sexualized now. And I go on to say this was a smidge of a taste compared to how often, how much, and in how many ways women are sexualized. It's annoying as fuck.
That's so true.
Yeah. And this was just one example that was enough to catch Jordan's eye. And not, you know, Jordan is like very respectful and is not about sexualizing women at all. So it's not like this message is directed at him. But I do feel that, you know, as women, we have more value than our tits and our ass. So please stop sexualizing our bodies, because I hope that now, after seeing a woman who constantly is focusing on that aspect of her soon-to-be husband, it's so degrading. You know, he has more to offer than his penis, just like we have more to offer than our genitalia.
Yeah,
so...
totally.
I felt like it was a great opportunity for guys to get a smidge of a taste, like the smidgiest of tastes.
Yeah. No, that's interesting that you brought that up. My perspective on specifically Lindsey making that comment is something that I see in people who want really badly to be seen as this loud, outspoken, specifically funny person, use low-hanging fruit humor, like commenting on people's bodies. Like, that's low-hanging fruit funny. In that it's not even that funny, but it's so available to you so that you can present yourself as this funny person.
Yeah.
I see right through that bullshit.
Yeah, me too. So, and you're just fighting fire with fire, because it's like, if we're going to stop sexualizing people, it starts with holding our own selves accountable first. So, you know, it's like, we can't say we need to stop sexualizing women and in return sexualize men. It's not, totally that's not how you make progress. Yeah. So, just wanted to throw that out there. If you're a guy who listens to the show, that might be something to check out and see how that makes you feel. And to check yourself. And I think and I say that with so much love, because me too, right? Like, we need to check ourselves all the time around how we are speaking, and as a way to either lift people up or down. And
accountability is the name of the game, baby.
100.
Okay. So we have the end of the episode is the first of the weddings that we get to see. The rest of them are coming. This one in particular, to me, is the most interesting couple that this show so far has to offer, that we can see so far, which is Mark and Lindsey. Lindsey, hailing from the North Shaw, baby. She is North Shaw all the way. Like, the New England themes and undertones that came through. First of all, they get married on the Charles River, which is hysterical to me, because, like, I've been on the Charles and seen, like, Kit Kat bars, like, floating in the water along that.
That's hilarious.
Disgusting brown water. It's a beautiful river, and, like, any opportunity to be on it, you get this amazing dual, like, skyline opportunity. You get to see Boston's skyline and Cambridge's skyline. Like, that's literally the river between
that's cool.
Boston and Cambridge. Yeah, it's gorgeous, but it's just so funny that they're, like, getting married on some random, like, bridge median on the Charles. And again, all I could think about was, like, this little Kit Kat that I saw drifting.
Yeah. Behind a science museum or something.
Yeah, exactly. I found the two of them coming together so distracting because of how much talking they were doing. My guttural reaction was like, stop talking or else you'll quickly realize you don't want to marry each other.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, their energies are just, I mean, okay, I'm not telling you because I don't know that I'm 100% correct, but my gut feeling just on, like, watching relationships and, like, how they form, I truly feel like it's like watching a train crash. It's these two trains coming at each other full blast with that kind of energy. And even Mark, towards the end of the episode, you saw starting to be forced to flip into receptive energy because Lindsey had to constantly be the center of attention. And so he was trying to take a step back. But they need to find a balance because Mark needs to be heard in this relationship too. So, you know what I mean? I do, if it's okay, I do want to back up to leading into the ceremony before they even met.
Oh, yeah. Lindsey's trashed.
She's trashed. She has some really deep mother wounds that have yet to be resolved. Yeah. And I think clearly there's some abandonment issues there. Yep. And I think her way of coping is I think her loud personality is a Band-Aid for part of that, to be seen. She thinks that, you know, if I have attention, I'll feel loved, I'll feel seen. Yeah. Sadly, that's not how it works. Right. And The other thing is, I think the drinking, she got pretty lit, let's say. And I feel like that also was just a Band-Aid to kind of cope. Whereas the contrast of Mark's getting ready with his groomsmen. Of course, they're doing like the shots that guys usually do, but he's not nearly as slaughtered. At least it didn't look like it to me. And I thought they had such a cute moment when his guys are fixing his bow tie and they say, "You nervous, Mark?" And he's like, nah, I'm good. And his best man was like, "Yes, you are. And stop saying, no, man, it's okay to be nervous." And I thought that was so beautiful, because let's normalize men having emotions too. Let's normalize guys getting scared and being in their feelings. And he's right. Him being nervous is not a sign that this is going to guaranteed fail. I mean, although I will say that I don't think I would love to have been a fly on the wall while the matchmakers were putting these two together, because I have no idea. Yeah. Like, what were they thinking? I don't get that. But what I'm trying to say is, our insecurities that may come up when we are taking that next step in a relationship, our fears do not mean that it is a guaranteed sign that something's going to fall apart. It is just a fear. It's a human experience, and it's okay to feel that way. That's all I was trying to say. Although, sorry, Mark, I'm, buddy, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how this one's going to go. I agree with you. It's interesting to think about why they chose to put them together. I think that maybe, like, Mark is this guy that clearly, like, he has to create a lot of fun in his life because his grandmother is on life support. His father died many years ago. His mom sounds like she doesn't take very good care of her health, so he ends up being this caretaker for both of them. And so because he carries all of this responsibility and all of the things that he wants in his life, he really wants to have a happy family where they're able to create like healthy, happy memories. He needs to create a lot of fun. So I wonder if the experts on the show were trying to pair him with someone who was already like a walking billboard for quote fun, to like give him that outlet. And I noticed the same thing that you did, which was, well, first of all, Lindsay's personality in the presence of others, people that she's not familiar with.
Yeah.
Her friends, she's able to be like a little bit quieter, but she presents this different like air about her, this like nothing can fuck with me air about her, but she's a bit quieter. But in the presence of new people, it's like her personality on steroids. It's like so in your face, so loud that she's quick-witted too. So like she'll come at Mark's responses very quickly. She's not doing a lot of listening.
No.
The only time I did see her actively listening was when they were exchanging vows. I saw her be present in that moment, which surprised me because of all of her other behaviors. But you can see in every other interaction that they have that Mark is like competing for air. And you can tell from the other interactions that he had with the men that he wanted the attention, he wanted the air, but like he was surrounded by people that were willing and able to give it to him. Whereas Lindsay is not willing and able to give him any space and time to be like the funny one in a moment. So I saw him working really hard, and it felt like he may have been feeling like, I don't even think this woman cares who's in front of him, like in front of her. She just like needs a body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't say this when we were going through the couples, but like, Mark clearly is anxiously attached. Like, he is textbook where he's saying like, if we're together 6 to 8 months, we're moving in together. Like he latches on really quickly, and he admits that about himself. And so what's interesting about that with Lindsay is Lindsay has abandonment issues. And so any person who struggles with abandonment issues, they want someone to be emotionally invested super fast so that makes them feel safe. And so I do feel like Mark might be able to soothe some of her abandonment issues, but as a compatible couple long term, I just, again, until they do some inner work and are able to take care of their own wounds instead of expecting the other person to do that for them, this relationship is just going to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
To get us out of this sad space for the two of them, like we said at the beginning when we were talking about our like compatibility assessment on Mark and Lindsey, it will be very interesting to see how the professionals intervene. Because
if at all.
Yeah. And so is that how it goes? Like, do you have to request the intervention? Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. These two people are not inherently self-aware, so I don't know how much of that we're going to get. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Because you and I are able to sort of deduce. Also, we're making fair assumptions about, like, the challenging features that they come up against when they're trying to create bonds with one another. Not only because you and I are informed about this stuff, but because we have a fair amount of information about their family background. We see how they interact with other people in their life, and we've now seen how they interact in the presence of new people and, like, this wedding space where they're supposed to, it's like being on a first date. Like, we're getting all of these lenses of who they are, so they're going to need help, but are they going to ask for help is an interesting question that I am excited to follow.
Yeah, 100%. They do get, as you saw, they get those camcorders where they like record themselves in the morning and the evenings, like before their wedding. But they have those to use on their own throughout the remainder of their relationship. So on the honeymoon, when they're living together. So it's really interesting getting to see their individual perspectives as time goes on. Yeah, so we will see. I'm excited to see how the rest of these relationships come together. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm particularly interested to see how Olajuwon and Katina get on, only because I feel kind of comfortable in knowing where the other three relationships are going to go. Yep. My biggest wild cards are Mark and Lindsey and Olajuwon and Katina.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, red flag, green flag of the week. What's your red flag?
My red flag is Lindsey when she was talking to her brother after they finished boxing, which wasn't scripted at all.
Oh my God, the punches.
We're so bad.
If you're punching and you're punching a punching bag, you don't want to punch and hold it. You need to put all of your energy and snap back. Yeah. Anyway, that was really, thank you for bringing that up. Sorry for cutting me off, and continue.
Yeah, so my red flag of the week is Lindsey talking to her brother about her mother wounds, and she literally said, I haven't found someone to help me mend from that. And the answer is, you got to help yourself mend from that, babe. No man is ever going to be able to, and that's a lot of pressure to put on your partner too. So my red flag of the week is Lindsey. Like, poor girl has a lot of wounds she's still carrying around that causes her to reach for coping mechanisms that don't serve her.
Man, she needs some healing heart hackers, doesn't she?
Yeah, baby, she does. Come join us.
Get on our Facebook group.
Yeah, get in our Facebook group. Get in my Boxer chat.
Pay the toll.
Pay the toll. Flexible payment
plans. Okay, my red flag of the week is it's Olajuwon's mentality going into this. I think he's as open as he ever could be in this particular place in his life, and I very much commend the changes that he's made in his life. Big first step. I totally support that, but I don't think that he's in the right place to join this show. And I really feel for Katina, because I think that she's a good girl. I think that she's in the right place. I think that she's ready, and I think that she's getting set up for failure a little bit because Olajuwon just has a lot more learning to do about what more personal growth he sort of needs to make before he can be a responsible partner for someone else. Yeah,
he kind of reminds me of Nate.
Yeah, I was getting some of those Nate vibes as well, which is like, I really want to be ready. I really want to be here.
Exactly.
But it's his naivety. It's like, it's totally his like, I'm ready and therefore it's happening. And it's like, oh, honey, honey, don't you know that there's like a lot more pain and suffering to go along in this moment? It doesn't have to be that way, but like there's a lot more learning about oneself to learn. Like, I think that what he's missing right now, I'm prepared to be wrong about this, but what he's missing right now is like, if you're not entering your next romantic situations as a responsible partner, and what I mean by that is you're not aware of how your choices and how you relate to your next partner deeply affects that person, then you're not being a responsible partner.
Nah. Yeah. I completely agree.
Green flag.
Green flag.
What do you got?
I love Michael's awareness around his weaknesses and that he can own up to them without any self-judgment. I actually didn't say this earlier about him. So he said something that's like textbook avoidant attachment style. I rewound it and listened to it multiple times to make sure I got it right. But he was saying how he latches on and nitpicks, like he'll find something and just nitpick the shit out of that as an excuse to not fully commit to the relationship and see it through. And that is a textbook avoidant attachment style sign. And I love that he knows that about himself, owns that about himself, and the same with the compromising, where his brother who's married is like giving him advice around, you got to learn how to compromise, which isn't something I've necessarily seen you do a lot of. And he was like, I agree, that's my biggest concern too. Like, it's not focused on his partner and what his partner can do for him. All of his concerns are about his own shit. And I adore that about him. I adore that about Michael. I think that shows so much emotional maturity, which makes me feel like he is ready.
That's so different. I really appreciate your highlight on we don't have to be perfect entering in our next relationships.
We ain't ever gonna be.
Yeah, that's truly the spoiler alert on life. But you do need to be responsible for your own growth. Like the shortcomings that you have that you bring into your relationship, you have to be responsible. We've talked about this in the past, but we'll say it again. Michael is making a perfect example of what we've talked about in this regard. Yeah. Being responsible for your own challenges. There could be some issues between him and Jasmina, because she's really looking for someone who's super communicative, and he really struggles with that. But him knowing that is going to give them the opportunity to identify what that challenge is going to be like for them. Yeah. What's my green flag?
What is your green flag?
I saw so many red flags that it was hard to see green ones. I guess generally, I think that Steve and Noi have like a good match in their future, because
I agree.
While Steve is not employed, and that will be challenging for him to make his partner aware of, and I appreciate his family sort of being upfront with him about like, you're I think it was his sister or sister-in-law that was like, I feel like she's going to want you to have a job.
Yeah, it was his sister.
I love that. But I think that his spontaneity, like the fact that he left and traveled for a really long time, and what we've been able to see is Noi's like willingness to be spontaneous, and the risks that she's taken for love in the past suggests that they are going to be able to they're going to be able to see each other eye to eye to be able to make time to have adventures with each other. And for people that's really important for, it's more or less pretty necessary in their partnerships.
I'm not so concerned about Steve not having a job, because I feel like he's highly marketable and will get a job pretty easily. Cool. That's my own personal thing. And I also, from what I've gotten from Noi, is that she has such a big heart. And again, I think as she gets to know Steve, knowing how put together he is, I mean, like, come on, the guy has a car he pays for. I'm pretty sure he has a house that was shot, or some kind of living space. Like, he's okay.
He's responsible. Yeah.
He's responsible. And I feel like she'll know that about him, and when the show's done wrapping, he'll get a job and they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, and you know what? I appreciate that, because I think that what I even got caught up in, and what the audience was like sort of coached into getting caught up in, is this very very problematic trope of like, men are not good enough for us unless they have a job. Like, of course, like, being able to pull your weight in your partnership is an important conversation to go off on. But men being rejected because they are trying to become entrepreneurs, or they are trying to figure out their next professional and financial move, is really unfair to them. So
yeah, and I think that we can offer some clarity here around if it's a pattern, if it is a long-term situation that is wrapped up with excuses, that is a very different circumstance than what we're seeing with Steve. Steve's not offering excuses. He has he got let go. He was super successful, got let go, did his own thing because he deserves to do his own thing, and is now doing this show. It's not him refusing to go to work, or, substance abuse issues that keep him from doing that. It's none of that. And I think if anyone is on the fence, or if you're dating and that is something that you kind of have as a deal breaker, like they have to be employed, I encourage you to look at a bigger picture than just checking the box.
Yes, thank you. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay, what's next on our agenda?
We have a Reddit question.
Yeah, so before you read it off, I just want to say to our beautiful audience, we take we take listener questions, meaning you. It's customized by you, your inquiry. If you go to our website, ditchthescriptpod.com, you can submit your question. It will get emailed to us. We will answer it anonymously for you here on the podcast. But this week, since we hadn't gotten any submissions, we're going to pull from Reddit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, are you ready?
I'm so ready. I'm buckled up.
Okay. So this Reddit user writes in and said, I had several exes / people I ended things with this year reach out in December 2021, asking to reconnect or discuss the split. I don't intend to respond because I ended things for fairly egregious reasons, repeatedly not contacting me for several days, anger issues, different attitudes to cheating, being disrespectful of my time, etc. My younger self would have and did put up with this, and they use big words, infinitum. But at 33, which is their age now, I communicated my needs and gave the relationship 1 to 2 chances before ending it if things didn't change. However, I feel really sad looking at all these past relationships that I can't and won't fix. It's made me reflect that my standards are much higher now and I won't settle. These guys cannot meet my needs and we are just not right for one another. And while it's nice to be able to put myself first, it's also a lonely realization that connections may be short-lived once I spot red flags, and that the experience can be painful and cynical. I miss the optimism and excitement of dating in my 20s. Just wondering if anyone had similar experiences of this festive season and how you guys reacted to them. They say what they're trying to decide is my heart wrong in not wanting to wait for this person that she already ended her feelings for? I know that that's not the right answer, but this is the worst breakup I've had considering my strong feelings for him. Should I distance myself and treat him like an ex? Should I remind him that I'm here if he needs anything? I'm really at a loss. He truly embodied so many qualities I always wanted in a significant other.
There's like 10 questions in this question.
Yeah. It's sort of like a vent and then it sort of feels like a vent on my standards are really high now that I'm older and I've been through a lot in my dating life.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that, but it's also made me cynical. And I think that she's looking for like validation and camaraderie, that's what other people are dealing with. And then is also like, do I respond and wait out for this person who had all of the things that I was looking for, but didn't actually end up being able to be the partner that I needed them to be?
Yeah, okay. To answer her question, is her heart wrong for wanting to wait for him? No, I mean, if we love people, we love people. But just because emotions are fleeting, first of all, and love is not the only thing that matters when it comes to making a relationship work. Bri, you didn't read this part. Like, so she goes on to say, like, should I distance myself like him from him and treat him like an ex? I would say yes to that. And then she goes, should I remind him that I'm here if he needs anything? And you didn't read this, but she literally, she, just to be really clear for those of you listening, Bri didn't read this one excerpt that I'm going to allude to, because this to me answers her question. She says, you know, I'm assuming she put, I would support him in whatever way I could. And his answer to that was, I just want to be alone. I'm not emotionally available. You deserve more than what I can give you. And these kinds of sentences, when people say that, one, it's displaying a victim mindset. Two, it's displaying, obviously, a lack of emotional availability, because he's owning that. And it's also a form of emotional manipulation, in my opinion, because typically these these replies are sent with the intention of having the person respond and say, but I love you so much and I only want you and you're the only person for me and yada, yada, yada. So I feel she was right for cutting him off. I think she should stick to that. I think she is allowed to grieve the loss of someone that she loved. But do I feel that she should wait for him unless his butt's in therapy? No. Yeah. And that's my personal stance based off of reading what she presented to us.
Thanks for clarifying. Thanks for providing the information that I skipped over.
It's okay.
It's important. I agree. When someone tells you that they're not ready or they're not emotionally available, especially if they're using that language, sometimes we have to like deduce that in someone's like other like magical type of language to assess like, oh, it doesn't actually seem like you're emotionally available. But if they tell you, oh, please believe them.
Yeah.
Please believe them.
Yeah. And the you deserve more than what I can give you is what is really icky to me. That is what really rubs me the wrong way, because he is just stuck in that victimhood, and there is when you're dealing with someone who's that ingrained in that victim mentality, you can throw all the life vests you want, but until they decide to grab it, ain't gonna fix it. Nothing gonna work.
It's sort of a cop out, isn't it? Not that I don't believe that when people tell other people while they're breaking up with them or trying to continue to allow distance between them, when they say you deserve much better than me, I find it to be a cop out to avoid taking responsibility for the fact that they didn't actually see themselves being in a relationship with you, or they don't see themselves being in a relationship with you right now. But this, like, what sounds like a very generous offering of you are better than what I am is actually really misleading and very confusing for the person who's receiving that, because sort of has the ability to make that person feel like, if I'm so great, why wouldn't you want to be with me? Why wouldn't you want to make that work? It's very confusing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, it feels like it's cheap. I don't like it. It really makes my skin crawl. And yeah, so that's my answer to this mysterious Reddit user.
I want to touch on the earlier part, just about like feeling a bit sour about having high standards and not allowing for what feels like a much smaller pool of satisfying connections. I feel you. I get it. It is an interesting shift in perspective to start dating with your priorities and your value in mind. Mm-hmm. Does that have the power to make you feel like you have more opportunities to feel lonely because you're not accepting whatever ding dong comes your way? That's just, that maybe previously would have felt like filled a void for a need for attention, and no longer like that doesn't like tickle your pickle anymore. Fair. Like, but if you feel sour about that, give yourself some space to feel sour about that. And then I encourage you to, with that same mindset, spin it on its head and identify how powerful that is, and how what is sort of on your horizon when you move through your dating journey, reminding yourself of what your values are and what you deserve.
Yeah.
Because if you could imagine the type of relationship that you could access, meeting you where you feel that your values are at and all of the wonderful, strong qualities in the type of person and adult that you are at this place of your life, and you meet and you hold out and you wait for someone who can see those qualities, baby girl, that's the kind of relationship that you want to be in, and one that you would want to offer to someone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, buckwheat. Well, that's it for this week, friends. Thanks for tuning in.
What did you just say?
What did I say? That's it for this week.
No, you said ote buckwheat. That's what I heard.
Oh, yeah, from Little Rascals. Ote buckwheat.
I didn't catch that, but dang, what a throwback.
Oh, yeah, I got it from Dan. Dan says it.
Oh. R.I.P.
That's really funny. He's still
R.I.P. in our lives. Okay, buckwheat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ditch the Script Pod. Again, send us your questions. Let me do that again.
Yep.
I'd leave it all in.
You say leave it in.
Send us your questions on our website, ditchthescriptpod.com. Let us help you. Let us give you real solutions to your real life and problems. That's it. Real solutions to your real life. Alex needs a nap.
I like. Alex does need a nap. Join our BFF chat. Let's BFF chat. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah. And if you like this episode,
I was gonna say, you have problems. And we want to hear them. We have problems. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, we do.
So please let us feel less alone in our problems. Share yours with us.
You are not alone. We are not alone. Let's all be in this together. And if you liked this episode, screenshot it, post it to the gram, tag us in it to let us know you're listening. We love to see it.
Yeah.
And leave a rating and a review, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. To help us grow.
Help us grow. We're just little baby infants.
Yes, we are.